You hear it all the time, right? Data is the new oil. It's the most valuable asset of our time. But what does that really mean? What does it actually take to manage it properly? Well, today, we're going to jump right in and pull back the curtain on the world of professional data management. Okay, let's kick things off with a number that's, well, it's pretty staggering. $3 trillion. According to the Harvard Business Review, that's the estimated cost of bad data to the U.S. economy every single year. We're not talking about a rounding error here, folks. That is a massive, massive drain on potential. So what does a $3 trillion problem feel like in the real world? Well, it's the day-to-day grind of things just not working right. It's your employees getting totally frustrated, leading to low job satisfaction. It's customers getting annoyed. It's missing out on the next big idea because you can't innovate. And then, of course, there's the really painful stuff. Big fines for compliance issues and a hit to your reputation that can be hard to fix. To even begin to tackle this, we've got to get one thing straight. It's so easy to think of data as just simple black and white facts. But the truth? It's a whole lot messier than that. And this is where it gets really interesting. See, data has this kind of dual personality. On one hand, it represents something real. But on the other hand, data itself is an object that needs to be interpreted. Think about it. A number in a spreadsheet is totally meaningless unless you know what it's measuring, when it was measured, and who measured it. And that essential context? It has a name: metadata. And honestly, this analogy is perfect. If your data is the food, metadata is the nutritional label. It's the data about your data. Without it, you're just consuming information with no idea if it's going to help your business or make it sick. All right, so how do the pros actually get this whole mess under control? It really boils down to three foundational pillars of data management. Let's break them down one by one. First up is data architecture. Think about an architect designing a huge skyscraper. They don't just show up with a pile of bricks and start stacking, right? No way. They create a master blueprint that shows how everything, the plumbing, the wiring, the support beams, all fits together. That's exactly what data architecture does for information. It makes sure everything connects logically and actually serves a purpose. Now for our second pillar, data security. I mean, it's pretty simple. If data is a super valuable asset, you have to protect it like one. And this isn't just about stopping hackers and hoodies. It's about making sure the right people can get the right data when they need it, and that the data stays pure and trustworthy. And when we talk about security, it's easy to just picture the obvious threats. But the reality is, the threats are everywhere. You've got your usual suspects from the outside, of course. We're talking about viruses and worms spreading like wildfire, those sneaky phishing emails trying to fool you, and bots trying to take over your systems. And this is so important, the threats from the inside can be just as dangerous. This could be an employee misusing the access they're supposed to have, or even just someone getting tricked by social engineering. Good security has to look in every direction. Our third and final pillar is data quality. And this one gets right back to the heart of that $3 trillion problem. It's all about making sure your data is accurate, consistent, and at the end of the day, trustworthy. Because if you can't trust your data, you can't make good decisions with it. It is that simple. Now, getting this right often involves some pretty big technical trade-offs. Take how you design a database. You often have to choose between two models. On one side, you have ACID, which is all about perfect reliability. Every transaction has to be flawless. On the other side, you have BASE, which cares more about being available and fast, even if it means the data is out of sync for just a split second. A great way to think about it is your bank's ATM. It has to be perfectly accurate every single time, right? That's ACID. But a social media feed, it just needs to be fast. If a like takes a moment to show up everywhere, it's no big deal. That's BASE. The key here is that there's no single right answer. It's always a balancing act. So we've talked about architecture, security, and quality. And it all sounds pretty technical, doesn't it? But that brings us to what might be the single most important piece of this entire puzzle. You might be thinking, okay, so to get data management right, I just need to buy the best software or build the fastest servers? The answer to that is a huge, resounding nope. Not even close. Here's the truth. Successful data management is not a technology problem. It's a human challenge. It's about changing how an entire organization thinks and works. You need a crystal clear vision from the top. You need a team of leaders to champion the cause. You have to create new roles like data stewards who actually own the data. At the end of the day, it's all about building trust and making these new habits part of the company culture. Which brings us full circle right back to where we started. Every single organization on the planet has data. But how they decide to treat it, that's what determines if it becomes a game-changing asset or just a costly mess. So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. When you look at your own world, your own company, is your data being handled like a risk you have to manage, or is it truly being treated like your most valuable asset? The answer to that question can change everything, and that is what professional data management is all about.